here you have two icons who are in the same genre quite a lot, you know. They're in the lineage of the great tough guys, Cagney and Bogart, and you know those guys. Now we have Al Pacino and De Niro, and they've both given us such a tremendous body of work and a wide variety of work as well. So they're not just limited to that genre. And then to have these two guys go head to head, we'd love to see that on screen.
But in the Pacino character and in the Robert De Niro character, you're basically seeing two sides of the same man, and in the way in which each overlaps and resonates within the other. And that, I think, is what's so brilliantly expressed when De Niro and Pacino share the screen together.
I never really viewed them as flip sides of the coin. I viewed them as kind of antithetical to each other, and that there were certain qualities that they both had in common and things that they were polar opposites of each other. One of the things that they're different about is that Neil McCauley is a sociopath and Hannah is not. Neil McCauley may care what happens to Edie, but the needle doesn't move off the peg about your Edie. Hannah has a social conscience. He has a normal spectrum of human feelings. He's very authentic in how he lives his life.
These two characters were very charismatic characters, and they kind of sensed each other throughout. There was some respect. It's like two boxers in a ring who are great boxers. They know something between themselves that no one else knows.
They're similar in some ways, and they respect each other and even like each other because they're both good at what they do.
I think it was a coup to get both of them to do this together, but I think that it was ready to happen. It was the kind of material that called for that kind of actors.
Everyone expected that they would be butting heads scene after scene after scene. I mean, that you had, you know, these two powerhouses. And what Mann does, it's very ingenious, is he delays and delays and delays a scene in which they're on screen together in the same physical space. And then when he does, he sets it in a very non-confrontational setting. It's not a big showdown. They're sitting over coffee.
I couldn't wait to get to that scene. You know, and I scheduled it very carefully in the shooting schedule. I wanted to do it about halfway through. But I couldn't wait to do it, and Bobby couldn't wait to do it, and Al couldn't wait to do it.
We always wanted to do something. It just never got off the ground, these things how they are. And here was Michael bringing us together in a movie with just one scene, really.
That scene was written many times, and there was one major change, which is when I had them talk about their dreams. Dreams are about the condition, the mood of what happens. It's not so much about the fact of what happens. So dreams aren't parables, they're not fables, they're not metaphors. A lot more Freudian than that.
Who would have thought that that's where the scene was going to go, that these two people who had such extraordinarily opposed objectives would become so wonderfully psychologically intimate over a cup of coffee at Kate Manalini.
I felt all along that was a real, it was a real sense of communion, but it was also a sense of fatedness, like we are going to meet again, but the next time we meet, only one of us is going to walk away.
For this particular piece, it would be good that for the movie, if we did rehearse, and we just met there, and we did it at the time, it was a wise choice because it was better to do it that way.
There's certain scenes that I'll rehearse, and I never really take rehearsals to the point where I wish I had shot it, because it's going to be at a certain height only once. You can get really close. You can get 99.5% of the way there, but you can never quite get to that. You know, it's just, everything will just click once or twice.
I mean, you wait the whole film is, you know, part of the anticipation of seeing these two titans together. And it's just shot pow, 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 pow. And it's just the beauty of the acting. Simple, you know, shots like this, nothing fancy.
I posed an impossible problem for Dante, which I wanted to shoot two overs simultaneously. So when Al's talking to Bob, there's one camera here, and just by a hair's breadth out of the frame, and there's another camera on the other side, so that consequently I could get the unity of performance, so that take 11 for Al is take 11 for Bob.
We also shot at high angle. We also shot at two profile shot that were not used in the movie. We had different kind of setups. We had definitely singles, tight overs, wider overs on both sides, you know, and most of them shot at the same time.
They were so tuned to each other and so totally in character that the subtlest shift of posture by Bob, or the subtlest cocking of his head, or a certain thing that might have happened with the side of his face, Pacino was reacting to and countering. Each take had a separate, unifying, organic something to it, you know, and each one was different than the other. I mean, the person who's probably appreciated that scene more than anybody else are the editors and myself, because we got to see, here they are in take 10, here they are in take 11, here they are in take 12, and most of the whole scene is from take 11.
The hype of having Bobby and I do it, because we were at a certain place in our careers and we had come up together, we had been a kind of, I would guess, a kind of compared to each other throughout our lives. And so it was an interesting aspect of the whole story.
If anybody wants to see in great simplicity, great acting for cinema of such a high level of integrity, that's Bobby and Al in that scene.